Welcome back. This is Module 4 of Consciousness, Creativity, and Contribution. The title of this module, which is the second video of 2 about creativity, is Future Vision. In this module, we will be exploring how to enhance your creativity and how to use the 3 principal components of your imagination: conceptualization, idealization, and visualization, to create your future vision for yourself and your life. In the previous module, you learned that human beings have been creative creatures for at least 40,000 years. But we did not collectively conceive of ourselves as being creative until a few hundred years ago. And we did not even assign to ourselves the attribute of creativity until a century ago, when the word creativity was coined by Alfred North Whitehead. But it should be noted that Whitehead defined creativity not just as a quality of humans or of deities, but as an inherent characteristic of everything. He thought of it as a fundamental aspect of universe, present in all its constituent parts, consciously aware or not. In other words, he thought of creativity as being almost synonymous with the concept of universal consciousness that I have presented to you. That same universal consciousness that creates, sustains, and enlivens the entire universe and is present within its creation. The existence of consciousness equates to the existence of creativity. Consciousness is creativity. Since our personal consciousness is an aspect of universal consciousness, which is creative by nature, our individual consciousness must also be creative. And that is why the young minds of children, who have yet to be conditioned and constrained by society to adapt to the rules and expectations of the system, are so creative. As you can see from the slide, Whitehead also said that the ideas we habitually choose to hold in mind are what shapes our personal destinies. In other words, what and how we think creates our future. The ideas, ideals, and beliefs we choose to hold in mind determine what we create in the world. Success begins in the mind. Those ideas and beliefs we hold in mind are key. Beliefs about ourselves, ideas about what is possible, beliefs about the nature of reality, ideas about how a person is supposed to behave, beliefs about our deservedness, ideas about the subject of thinking itself. All these ideas and beliefs that we hold without examination are what shape our experiences in the world, and they determine our success. As we grow out of our childlike wonder and become educated, our imagination is dampened down and our thoughts and beliefs become ingrained. Our creativity is suppressed and our future vision or expectations for what is possible and probable for us gets defined by the limitations of societal norms. So let's examine how to bring back that creativity that you had as a child. Even if you do not succeed in getting back to that 98% genius level you apparently had as a 5-year-old, you can enhance your creativity quite substantially, and as a result, free yourself from many of the restrictions of thought patterns or belief habits that limit your success and personal fulfillment. We will get to some very specific and simple but proven ways to enhance your creativity in just a few moments. But first, let's return to that idea that young children are creative geniuses. Now, the meaning of words tends to morph over time, and the common current usage often obscures the original meaning. The English word genius, for example, comes from the Latin word genus, which in turn is derivative of the Latin gene, which means to give birth, to beget. The meaning of the original Latin word genius is to be born with, or to be inherent in birth. 2,000 years ago, in ancient Rome, the common usage of the word genius was taken to mean a guardian deity or spirit which watches over each person from birth. That idea lingers on today for some people as the concept of a guardian angel. 1,000 years later, 1,000 years ago, in the Middle Ages, the word genius had morphed to mean the built-in character of each human being. And as we know, in today's world, we take it to mean exceptionally high IQ, or the exceptional talent in some human beings. So the evolution of the usage of the word genius went from meaning born with to meaning rare talent. It is interesting how that mirrors the studies that show that 98% of children are born with creative genius and only 2% of adults are the rare, talented, creative geniuses. We will get to how to recover some of that creative genius you were born with shortly, but first, this commercial break. Just kidding. Please excuse my sense of humor and this relatively clumsy segue. Take a look at this photo. What do you see? More importantly, what is your first reaction? Be honest. I expect that some of you, despite the fact that we're talking about creativity, will have reactions like, "What a mess," or "Wait till her parents get home." But let me introduce you to this young lady by the name of Aelita Andre. She is a creative genius. She started selling her paintings at the age of 2, and she just turned 13 in January of 2020. She is an internationally recognized and commercially successful artist whose paintings sell for thousands of dollars. Now, I'm going to ask you to pause this video in a moment and go over to YouTube and spend 8 minutes listening to Aelita speak about creativity. Once you are done with that, come back and we will continue. Okay, this kid has obviously not been constrained to color just within the lines. Her 5-year-old self, with its natural creative genius, is still obviously very much present and has not been dampened down to the 20% level other kids her age would have dropped down to from their natural 98% that they had as 5-year-olds. Her imagination is still open and playful. She loves what she does. And even though my personal preference in paintings leans more to Vermeer than Aelita's work, I stand in awe of her creativity. Her creative genius is quite apparent to me. Now, please do not get your feelings hurt here, but this needs to be said. If you think it is crazy that people have paid as much as $50,000 for one of her paintings, and if you think that she is just making a random mess and is not really being creative, then that judgment is exactly why your own creativity is diminished. And that is exactly what will hold you back from enhancing your own creativity. And think about this. The person who can afford to spend $50,000 for that painting of hers has obviously created a measure of financial success and also has an appreciation for creativity. Just perhaps those two things are related in some way. As I said, her artwork is not to my taste. I prefer different styles. But I do recognize her creativity as genuine and unique, and can understand why some people love it and buy it. But we are not here to talk about her creativity and how she earns more from her paintings than many adults earn from working full-time at some less than colorful job. We are here to talk about how to enhance your creativity so that you can become more successful in your own way. I am not going to suggest that you start throwing buckets of paint around, but maybe an adult coloring book is in order. True, you will be expected to color within the lines, but dig out those colored markers, because one of the proven ways to enhance your creativity is to take up drawing, painting, and coloring, not with the intention of becoming an accomplished artist, but simply to be playful and free to express yourself without restriction or judgment. To do something simply for the fun of it, perhaps even for the joy of it, to wake up your personal creativity, and maybe to compete with your kids or grandkids for exhibition space on the refrigerator door. Adult coloring books are everywhere these days. Those with mandalas and flowers are the favorites. Pick one up, start coloring. Maybe you might even dare to color outside the lines. At the very least, take up doodling. Did you ever get reprimanded for doodling in school? I certainly did. Those poor teachers had no idea what they were doing. There is a growing body of research that indicates that doodling not only increases retention, but also enhances creative thinking. Doodling enables you to jot down ideas just before they slip through your fingertips, allowing you to retain and realize more eureka moments. Some famous doodlers include Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Jack Kerouac, Dwight Eisenhower, Queen Victoria, JFK, Mark Twain, and many, many others. So, meet Suni Brown, who turned her personal passion for doodling into a lucrative career teaching left-brained corporate execs how to get back to their childhood doodling like they did in their school days. Many creative and successful people also keep a journal in which they write down ideas that occur to them, inspirational thoughts, or reflections about experiences. The great thing about journaling is that you can combine note-taking, insights, doodling, drawing, coloring, and, of course, the progress on your to-do and to-da lists. Before we move on to the specifics about how to improve each of those three aspects of your creative imagination, conceptualization, idealization, and visualization, I would like to suggest another way to boost general creativity. Take any common object that you use on a regular basis and just take for granted. Perhaps like that pencil you were just doodling with. Just look at it contemplatively for a few moments. Then ask yourself to imagine how it got invented, and then improved upon to become the example you have in front of you. See if you can come up with at least 5 scenarios that would cause a person to invent that thing. And then ask yourself, how would you improve it? Start asking yourself questions like, why did it take so long for people to put built-in wheels on luggage? I walk through scores of airports all around the world using one of these portable luggage carts you see here, and it never once occurred to me to ask, why don't suitcases have built-in wheels? 6,500 years of people using wheels to haul stuff around, and it only occurred to someone a few years ago to add wheels to suitcases? Why? And why did it take years after the invention of Ziploc resealable bags for food companies to start selling products already packaged in Ziploc bags? What other seemingly natural progressions or implementations of original ideas are not being done? Why? Lack of imagination? All right. It is time to look at each of these 3 aspects of imagination, beginning with conceptualization or idea generation. As I mentioned, there are 2 main ways we get ideas. First, from a sudden flash of insight, and second, from problem-solving, intentional thought processes. Let's deal with the second one first, because that is the most commonly used method. Like the invention of the wheel for transportation by that ancient Sumerian, humans generally are looking for creative ways to accomplish something, whether that is solving an apparent problem or trying to imagine a better way to do something. Let's call it possibility thinking. Possibility thinking is often called divergent thinking. It is the process of using the imagination to first come up with as many ideas as possible to create a solution to a problem or to improve upon an existing thing or condition. Divergent thinking is a thought process or method used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, so that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. Many possible solutions are explored in a short amount of time, and unexpected connections are drawn. Following this use of divergent thinking to come up with as many novel ideas as possible, those ideas and information are then organized and structured using convergent thinking, which follows a particular set of logical steps, narrowing down the possibilities to arrive at one useful solution. One of the best ways to teach yourself to use divergent thinking is through a process called mind mapping. I created this diagram to show you how to get started. Pick any concept or problem that needs solving, write it in the center of a page. Then create spokes that lead out from that center and put possible solutions to the identified problem or ideas that relate to the original concept. Then expand this to add more ideas that arise out of each new idea. You get the idea. But for goodness sakes, do not do it simply in the stark black and white way I have diagrammed it out for you. In order to spark your creativity, you need to engage playfulness. This is not an analytical process. Make your mind map hand-drawn. Use color. Forget those straight lines and perfect circles. There are no set rules for mind mapping, but allow me to give you a couple of suggestions. First, suspend judgment. If some idea occurs to you, do not make a quick judgment about its worthiness. Write it down anyway. You can always eliminate it later, and it may inspire other worthwhile ideas. Second, after you have come up with several idea branches and sub-branches, look to see what possible connections exist between apparently divergent ideas that might generate new aha insights. And third, get input from outside sources. Ask yourself, what would Leonardo da Vinci suggest? You can use any person whose brilliance and creativity you respect, dead or alive, real or imagined. Jot down their ideas. Expand on those ideas. Use your imagination. Like any new creative mental habit, you will need to train yourself to do this. So I suggest that every day for the next 30 days, you take any new concept and mind map it. Give yourself a time limit, say 20 minutes. Once you have taken on this way to practice divergent thinking, you will soon find it to be both effective and fun. Okay, so that is the intentional thinking, problem-solving way to come up with new ideas. Now let's take a look how to open yourself up to those truly inspirational moments of epiphany. Paul McCartney woke up with the tune that later became the song Yesterday playing in his mind. Not the words, just the music. That tune stuck with him. At first he could not believe it was an original tune, and he kept asking people if they had heard the tune before. After he accepted that it was not some half-forgotten jazz riff he had heard somewhere, it took several weeks to come up with the words to go with that tune that would not leave his mind. That song, Yesterday, has been played on air over 7 million times. It has been covered by 2,200 other artists and was voted the best song of the 20th century in a BBC poll. Not a bad tune to pop into your mind while sleeping. Albert Einstein was cataloging patents when it suddenly occurred to him that a falling man would not feel his own weight. Now you have got to admit that is a pretty strange thought to just appear in his mind. And it is even stranger that he thought it important enough to dwell on. It took him 8 years to expand that thought to become his general theory of relativity. And we all know how that out of the blue idea of a falling man being weightless changed the world. Changed, in fact, our whole reality picture. I once met a man by the name of Spencer Silver, who worked for the 3M company in the adhesives department, designing new types of glues. Not exactly a dream job, in my opinion. One of his failures turned out to be a huge success. He had been attempting to create a new, strong, permanent adhesive that the company wanted and had ended up with a glue that would not stick, either strongly or permanently. He told me the story of how that failure turned out to be a massive success. A fellow 3M employee, a guy by the name of Arthur Fry, was singing in a church choir, and he turned to a new page in his hymnal marked by a piece of paper that fell to the floor. And he suddenly realized that the useless glue that Silver had told him about while bemoaning a bad day in the lab over a post-work beer was the perfect solution. He could use it to stick that piece of paper to the hymnal without damaging the page where his next church hymn was located. When he pitched the idea to 3M, they resisted, but Fry persisted, and eventually the 3M company decided to test market the product. Now, as you know, Post-it notes are everywhere. That flash of insight came out of the blue. Now, a religious person like Arthur Fry might even be inclined to call that divine inspiration. But you don't have to sing in a church choir to receive inspirational thoughts. Many people have flashes of insight while standing in the shower in the morning, humming a tune. Why? They are relaxed, and hot showers release the feel-good hormone and neurotransmitter called dopamine, opening up new neural connections. And the subconscious mind that was active during sleep has not yet been damped down by the busy conscious mind caught up in the daily grind. Another way to leave yourself open to inspiration is to go for a walk in the woods and maybe do something outrageous, like stop and ask a tree for insight, or sit by a babbling brook and imagine that it is speaking to you. Of course, most people will not do weird stuff like this. But then again, most people, 98%, do not exhibit that creative genius. Only kids will sit by a pond for an hour playing with pebbles, imagining God only knows what, right? Adults are busy doing grown-up things. If you are fortunate enough to live on the coast, go float in the ocean. Think of being immersed in the sea as an allegory for being immersed in the ocean of universal consciousness. Remind yourself that you are mostly water yourself, filled with the same crystalline salts as the ocean, and have the same built-in vibratory frequency. So you are naturally in tune with the sea and can tune into any messages it may have for you. If you do not live near the sea, or if the sea that you do live near is too darn cold to float comfortably in, consider spending time in a flotation tank, often called an isolation tank or a sensory deprivation tank. You will be astounded at what happens there. Or simply take up the practice of meditation. Learn to breathe consciously and be open to the idea that universal consciousness can and will supply you with moments of epiphany, revelation, inspiration, and creative ideas. Ask and expect. Be open. Use your imagination. It is your creative workshop. Okay, so some idea has presented itself to you and caught your attention as being worthwhile. Remember what I said about idealization being the perfect expression of ideas, as being something to pursue? Adding that L to the word idea to turn it into the word ideal. Let the L stand for longing, maybe even lust. Attach enough desire to the idea so that you are impelled to pursue the perfect expression of that idea, and it will become your ideal. The ideals that people hold define who they are and what they value. So idealization is the process of defining yourself and your values. Consequently, the direction of your life unfolds when you choose your ideals. Your future vision takes shape, and as you begin to visualize your destiny, your life takes on meaning and purpose. And my old formula, purpose plus passion plus persistence equals prosperity. Okay, let's get into visualization. What it is, why it is important, and how you can improve your own ability to practice creative visualization. In the previous module, when we did the exercise with the lime, I mentioned that the visceral effects of your taste buds reacting to the imagined sour taste of that lime were as important as is the actual ability to see, in your mind's eye, that image of yourself cutting the lime into quarters and biting into one of those wedges. Over the years, many people have reported to me that they are not good at visualizing. But let's put it into perspective. About 5% of people are completely unable to construct mental images. There is even a name for that condition, aphantasia. Also, about 5% of people can automatically and easily construct mental images that are as clear as what they can see with open eyes. The rest of us, 90%, fall somewhere in between those two extremes. But remember that the feelings that arise from visualizations are equal to or even more important than the clarity of the image generated. If you can conceptualize an idea, then turn it into an ideal by imagining the best possible expression of that idea and attaching desire for its effectualization, you have visualized something, even if you do not feel like you have been able to create a perfectly clear mental image of it. The level of emotional response to any ideal that you choose to pursue is the most important aspect of acts of conscious creation. The emotional current is the power behind manifestation. Okay, so if you, like me, are in the 90% who have a less than perfect ability to create those mental images and you want to improve upon that ability, allow me to suggest 2 ways to do that. First, guided visualizations are a great tool that you can use to enhance your personal ability to visualize. I have added one for you at the end of this module. It is the second of 12 that are included in my book, The Journey, which is book 2 of the Delphin Trilogy. You can also find many, many examples on YouTube of guided visualizations. The more that you use guided visualizations, the more capable you will become at creating those internal mental images. Another very effective way is to simply practice visualizing using the method I will describe to you now in a practice session. First of all, you need to get into a relaxed and focused state. So please close your eyes now and take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become calm, focused, and relaxed. Take another nice, long, slow, deep breath in. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become completely and totally relaxed. Once again, take another nice, long, slow, deep breath. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become completely and totally relaxed. Okay, open your eyes and focus your attention on the image of the red rose you see in front of you. Notice every detail you can about this rose, the colors of the petals, the leaves, and the stem, the curving of the shape of the petals, the way the outer shell of the bulb has opened up and curved back to reveal the rose, the serrated leaves, the stem getting darker as it grows to the bottom. Look closely. Imagine you can reach out and touch the petals, how velvety soft and supple they are. Imagine you can smell this rose. Now close your eyes and imagine what the rose looks like. Don't force it. Relax. Just imagine the rose. Pretend you're holding the rose in your hand. Bring it to your nose and inhale the glorious scent. Caress your face with it and feel how soft it is as it touches your cheek. Notice how intense the color is, how red it is. Pause this video and repeat this exercise several times, staring at the rose on the screen and noting all the details, then closing your eyes to see it in your imagination. Okay, open your eyes. To practice this on your own, take any object and hold it in your hands so you can feel the texture. You can use any item for the method I have just described to you, but I strongly suggest using something that has an aroma. Involving multiple senses in a visualization exercise makes it easier to imagine it as real as when you see it in your imagination. Learning to see that which you create in your imagination as being as real as that which is evident in the external world is your power to manifest reality. All right, let's talk about creating that future vision of yours. So let's quickly review the process of being consciously creative. Step number 1, conceptualization. Create that idea of success for yourself. Ask yourself the question, if it were possible for me to have anything, what exactly would I choose? Step number 2, idealization. Take that idea, flesh it out, and make it as perfect as possible so that it arouses your passion to pursue it. Step number 3, visualization. Create the image of yourself living that success. Feel yourself enjoying your imagined success. Step number 4, incubation. Mind map that ideal. Allow for a period of gestation in your subconscious so that your subconscious can integrate the ideal. Step number 5, emergence. One day, while standing in the shower, or walking in the woods, or floating in the sea, it will come to you that you know exactly what you need to be doing with your life, starting immediately. Step number 6, effectualization. Create an action plan. Work to enact that plan. Other videos here on Dolphin World talk about that in quite some detail, so I will not expand upon that here. I will only repeat once again what old Ben Franklin had to say. Failing to plan is planning to fail. In next month's masterclass entitled Live Success Now, you will go through the process of creating your life master plan. And in the next 2 modules of this course, we will explore your contribution to the ongoing evolution of the universe. All right, so let's close out this module by looking at your future vision. And so with all this talk about visualization and now this focus on future vision, it would be easy to think that this is primarily a mental exercise, even a left-brained logical thinking process about seeing where you are going. The truth is that in order for it to be real for you and realizable in the world of event and circumstance, it needs to be something that is calling out to you. What does your heart yearn for? We will come back to that in a few minutes, but first allow me to draw a picture for you. I want you to imagine that you have been away from home for some time and that you are driving home at night down a dark country road. There is no moon out tonight, and there is only your car's headlights to reveal the road ahead. Even though you can only see a couple of 100 feet of road ahead of you, you are driving along casually at 80 kilometers an hour. In reality, you do not know for certain that the road even exists beyond the reach of your headlights, but you drive on, acting as if it were there, trusting that the road will lead you home. In the back of your mind, however, you know that all kinds of possibilities exist. A deer might dart out in front of you. A tree could have fallen on the road. Perhaps a landslide has blocked the road, or a bridge has washed out. Still, you maintain your speed, trusting that the road will continue to unfold in front of you, even though you cannot see past the reach of your headlights. Your desire to get home and your faith that the road you have chosen will take you there override the possible dangers. You do not need to clearly see all the way to your destination to continue to go in that direction. Now ask yourself, why is it that you can drive into the unknown in your daily life with the full expectation that things will unfold, but when you dare to imagine a greater level of success for yourself, fears of all sorts of possible deterrents, like broken bridges or fallen trees, are enough to slow you down or even prevent you from traveling down the road, at least until daylight enables you to see past the unknown obstacles that may befall you. It is only your heart's desire, your longing, your passion for your ideal vision of success that will provide the faith, the full expectation that the road you have chosen to follow will lead you inevitably and safely there. When you create your future vision, do not demand that you see clearly all the way ahead. You can see where you are headed, and as you continue, more of the path ahead will be revealed. Go confidently down that road, expecting and trusting that the way forward will be revealed as you go. So, what is calling out to you? What makes your soul sing? What dreams do you harbor? What allows you to feel most alive? What is your heart's desire? Write it down and use colored rainbow pens. Add sparkles and fairy dust. Allow ideas to spring forth. Map them out. Be bold. Be audacious. Use your imagination and allow your creativity to come out and play. Create a vision of your future that enthralls you. Don't be shy. Don't be tremulous. Everything you do contributes to the whole of the ever expanding and evolving universe, and it awaits whatever you hold, ideal in mind and dear in heart. Okay, we learned that we have only recently begun to see ourselves as having creativity as an inherent aspect of our beingness, and that we can act upon our world and create unique things that are an expression of our beingness and personal creativity. However, our biggest realization, one that is only beginning to become part of our collective consciousness, is that we humans can also create ourselves in our own imagination. We are recognizing that not only can we become more over time, that we can evolve, but that we have the capacity to self-evolve, to take active control of our individual and collective self-actualization, and to shape the future by our personal creations, our contributions. And we will continue this conversation in the next module. I will see you there. In the meantime, enjoy playing with those colored pencils. And be sure to listen to the sample guided visualization that will play as soon as I say, ciao for now.
The meditation exercise for this chapter again begins with you sitting up comfortable and erect with both feet on the ground, resting your hands in your lap. Close your eyes and take a nice, slow, deep breath. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become completely and totally relaxed. Again, take another nice, slow, deep breath. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become completely and totally relaxed. One more time, another nice, slow, deep breath. And as you let it out, allow yourself to become completely and totally relaxed. And now, as you are sitting there, comfortable, safe, secure, serene, and relaxed, I want you to imagine that you are lying on a beach on a tropical island. You are on vacation with your lover. You have just returned from a long swim in the warm waters and are now resting, almost dozing, on the warm sand with the glorious sunshine drying your skin. It is comfortably hot. As you lie there with your eyes closed, you can hear the waves rushing up on the sandy beach. You are completely relaxed and at peace, yet you feel strangely alive and alert. In the distance, you hear children laughing as they play in the surf. A sea eagle screeches as it flies by, searching the surf for fish. As you continue to lie there so completely relaxed, listening attentively to the beach sounds, you get warmer and warmer and warmer, and suddenly you recognize that you are very thirsty. Your throat is dry. You're thirsty. You feel a shadow on your face, and you open your eyes to see your lover standing there, holding 2 big oranges. You watch closely as the first orange is peeled, juices squirting as the peel is separated from the flesh. The sections are separated, and one is placed in your mouth. As you bite down, the delicious orange juices explode in your mouth, some escaping to run down your chin. Slowly, deliciously, you eat the entire orange, section by section, and your thirst is quenched. You are very, very happy, very alive, and focused on the moment, relaxed and peaceful. And now, keeping with you this sense of relaxed alertness and heightened inner awareness, you open your eyes to read and listen to this chapter.